Okay, so just doing a little video here. Yeah, so yesterday as I was riding into work, my all of a sudden I realized my speedometer went out. So I couldn't see how fast I was going. And of course, at that very time, I was passing by a cop who had just pulled somebody over. And yeah, so I couldn't see how fast I was going. I could pretty quickly see that my speedometer had gone out. So I couldn't see anything on my speedometer. And then when I got to work, I realized that my turn signals were also out. And then, so I was kind of worried about riding home later on that night to work. And anyways, to make a long story short, I had to have a buddy give me a ride home because when I try to play around with it while I was at work, but it's kind of hard, as I'm working, and it's hard to find the time. I have all my tools there to do the fuses. I thought it might be in the past my battery cables had gotten loose just from your turning and stuff like that, and leaning and such, and the battery wires had just come loose, and it caused something funky to happen. Basically it was like my ABS light just kept stayed on, and when I got home I just tightened the cables, and that solved the problem. But this time when I was at work, I figured maybe it was the same thing, and actually it wasn't. The battery was tight, and what it was one of my fuses blew out. So, and I also realized that I had no brake lights and no horn. So basically, that's why I had my buddy follow me home. But it forced me to learn a little bit about the fuses that are in here. So basically, when you take a look, so right now I take the seat off and I've got the battery out. And you can see right here, this is the main fuse panel right here, and then just up above it here, you have just a couple more fuses. And you can see right here, so there's one at the very top, this very last one over here, it says tail, stop, and horn. Not too sure if you can see that. Got some lights on it. And then the one above it says engine stop, and then OP, ABS sub, headlight. There's one that's open. But anyway, so it looks like this underneath there. You can see the fuses. So most of these fuses are 7.5 amps, and there's one 30 amp. There's three 15 amps, actually four 15 amp fuses, and another 7.5 up there. And so basically, I just went ahead. So basically, this very last one at the very top right here, the one that's back the most towards the tailpipe, furthest back one, 7.5 amp. That fuse was blown. So if that ever happens to you, it's that's the fuse right there. But anyways, my bike's about a little over 3.5 years old now, and I just figured, that really scared me, and I could definitely see that causing a safety issue for somebody. So just now, I just went and replaced. I went to AutoZone. I got all the. You got to use the mini fuses, is what it's called, a mini fuse, and you definitely want to get a good number of 7.5 amp. There's only one 30 amp. There's four 15 amp, and the one green 30 amp. There's a couple other ones which I didn't play around with over here. There's a couple ABS fuses here. I didn't play around with those, but anyhow, so I just replaced them all out, and it did. The bike did fire back up when I was done. The speedometer came up. Everything was working again. But anyhow, yeah. So just wanted to show everybody the fuse box here, because I have the owner's manual, but it doesn't really do a good job of showing the fuse box and what's going on there. Anyhow, I'm going to kind of put it all back together here. So another thing that I realize is, when you're working on the battery or the fuses, you want to take these side pieces out here, and especially when you're taking the fuse, opening the fuse things, you want to open both side things so you can access it with a screwdriver and pop the. You basically have to pop these things open. So this cover here just pops down like that. So now you can see it's clicked back on, and there's still one back here, and this one just clicks back on. Now you can see them both covering the fuses there. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back together now. Okay, so now you can see I got the battery back in there, and this is the top plate thing, which I really kind of hate this thing. I mean, they do give you like an emergency, like a little plastic screwdriver here, which I've never used. I mean, the only time I would use that is just like an absolute emergency. And then they give you like a little fuse puller right here. And that thing's kind of a joke. I mean, it's so small. You can see compared to my screwdriver, how small it is. And it's, these fuses are way back in there, some of them. there's no way you're going to get that. I mean, you'd have a heck of a time using that little fuse puller to get to the ones in the very back and the very corners right there. So basically, I just use some needle nose pliers, and that's what you want to use, needle nose pliers, because you get back there much deeper. Having the right tool makes all the difference in the world. And that's one of the reasons I wasn't able to change it out when I was at work, because I just didn't have all my best tools with me. And then there's a little thing right here, which is kind of another joke for my screwdrivers. It holds the 30 amp fuse, but it doesn't even, like when you push it in, it doesn't even stay down. You can see there's a little sitting place there for a 30 amp fuse. I think I'm going to put it back in there, but it's kind of useless, and it's just probably going to end up, it never has fallen down below the tray, but it definitely could. And I really don't like these things, these little things. You got to click them down. There's one here, and then there's one down here that holds this tray in that keeps it keeps the battery down. So that way, if the cables ever come loose a little bit, it keeps the battery from coming loose. So anyhow, I'm all done now. I just got to put the seat back on. Okay, so I got the seat back on. Yeah, to get it on and off, you just there's a couple little Allen screws on the back here, 2 of them, and then you just use the Allen wrench here. So pretty easy. Got it all back together. The side panels are back on. Now I'm going to fire up, make sure it's working. Oh yeah, these are all the tools I used for the job here to get the battery in and out. So I got the Allen wrench, and then screwdriver. Mine converts from a Phillips to a flathead, the black one there. A little small screwdriver kind of helps. Got my flashlight and my needle nose pliers. That's all you really need to do all this. Okay, cool. So the moment of truth here, I'm going to fire it up. So key in, and you can see right here, boom, speedometer's back. I'm in neutral right now, so I'm just going to start this sucker up here. So you can see right there, we're good to go. Brake lights back in order. Speedo's rocking and rolling. Turn signal left. Good to go. Turn signal right. Good to go. Front one's good there too. And then hazards. Good to go. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends and buddies about it, and have fun riding. Be safe. Peace.